Friday, December 4th. There is your closing bell, guys, with the S&Ps closing the day up 30 points. We saw the small caps on fire. The bonds keep heading south, and volatility keeps getting kicked in the knees. I got a lot to go over, so let's dive in, break this market down, and then go over the top 3 stocks on the day. We'll start with our S&P 500, guys. We'll zoom out a bit, and you can see it was a trend day up, and we're getting some big buying coming into the weekend close, guys. However, when we look at this on a bigger picture, we put in a new all-time high in the S&P 500. What's concerning is there is low volume. Maybe that's the fact because traders are afraid of buying the top. However, on a year-to-date percentage, we're up 13.5% in the S&P futures, guys. We'll come right back and take a look at the SPX, but I want to put that in the end of the video. Once the options market settles down, we can see the expected move for next week. However, let's move on and take a look at the NASDAQ. We can see that the NASDAQ today came just a nudge of putting in an all-time high. However, we see low volume, and on a year-to-date, the NASDAQ's up 40%. Now, I want to point back buying tops. Now, back in this time period, I would say in early June, it looked like buying the top there was a bad idea. However, when you look at the bigger picture, we end up ripping over 25%. So had you thought that that was the top and you sat out on the sidelines, you missed out on some pretty sizable gains. Now, I don't want to say buy the top here. I'm just saying we could possibly keep on going higher if the trend continues. However, the NASDAQ was our worst performing index on the day, and that's largely due to our Big 5. So we take a look at our Big 5, guys, and we see that the Big 5 today was down 0.38%. Dun dun dun. That's the reason why we see the NASDAQ only up 0.5%, and that's really putting drag on the S&Ps. But we're still up over 30 points. What gives? If we take a look at the Big 5 on a year-to-date, it's up almost 49%. The question then becomes, can the Big 5 either go sideways in this area, pull back? If it pulls back, we're going to need to see some support from other sectors across the board. Otherwise, things can get ugly. Today was its first test. We see that the Big 5 is down, but the markets are green. So it's not a big concern today, but the question becomes, what happens when they're down 1, 2, 3%? Will the market still be kept intact? Let's cruise on over and look at the small caps, our top performing index on the day. We take a look at the Russell 2000, guys, and we see it's up almost 2.5% today. On a year to date, it's up over 13%, in line with the S&P 500. This was an index that was getting beaten up hard in the first half of the year, and it's made a nice recovery. Let's take it a little bit closer and look at some of our sectors across the board. And we see that the XLE is our top performing sector on the day, up almost 5.5%. This is what you want to see if we want to go higher. On a year to date, it's down 33%. Still has a lot of room to go, guys. The XLE is our top index on the day. Let's take a look at how the financials did. And we see the financials are up over 1% as well. Financials having a nice day after it looked like it wanting to roll, but this could be largely due to the bonds being down, which we'll get to in just a second. And we had the utility sector as our worst performing sector on the day, down over 1%. So we see what our sectors are doing. Let's take a look at our advanced decline line. We see today in the S&P 100, 83 are advancing and 18 are declining. That's our Big 5 is on the downside and a few other stocks. However, this is a positive AD line, but you would like to see more 90-10, 95-5 to the upside for a full-blown rally. But things were good today if you are a bull. So equities are up across the board. Even the financials are up. So you better believe the bonds are down. Let's move on over and take a look at them. We take a look at the bonds, the 30-year treasuries, and we see they're down almost 0.8%. This is some big selling coming into these bonds, and they're not going the right direction. I want to point out the TNX. The TNX is the 10-year Treasury Index. Now, this is a raw, quick read on what the yield is on a 10-year, and at 9.69, just move the decimal point over one spot, and we have 0.969. So almost 97 basis points, close to 1%. The reason why this is a concern, if we see the 10-year yield rise, which bond yield rises when bond price drops. So bond prices keep dropping, the yield is going to rise on that bond. Now, however, if the yield rises too fast, too quick, let's say we got to a 1.5% yield, what does that mean? That means I can get a 10-year treasury and get over 1.5% risk-free return. If the return gets too high, we can see money come out of equities and chase these returns, which could be bad if we're long stocks. But this is interesting to watch. We'll see what happens, but the bonds are going to cause the move in the market, guys. We'll see how the bonds do going forward, but let's take a look at the volatility index. Now we see today the VIX futures are down over 2%. After having some solid green days, it just whooshed right down, guys. This is not what you want to see. However, volatility can't catch a break. Markets are up. Why would the VIX be up with the market? Makes no sense. We can even see the VVIX is down over 4%. Now this is a concern. This 100 level, round 100, we only spent 2 trading sessions at this level and got a huge reverse. The question becomes, can we get down into the 90s and stay there for a period of time? We zoom out a bit and we just take a look. The VVIX has spent a lot of time in the 90s. It could be going to where it wants to go, but that's assuming nothing hits the tape that's unexpected. Now we take a look at the VIX, which isn't the best read at things, but I want to point out a period. I've been pointing it out, this August period. We could be seeing that same period going into possibly mid-December down here with the VIX. It's a concern. If the VIX does that, that would be a great buying opportunity for cheap VIX calls if we go another 2 weeks at this 2019 level. So keep your eyes on the VIX, but let's move on and take a look at the dollar index. Now, we see the dollar index today is actually up today, ever so slightly. We put in a new low at 90.47, but ultimately, the dollar should be coming down. The question just becomes, how fast does it fall? And I really think that this period back in 2018 will play some sort of fight. I don't think we're just going to blow right through it, but stimulus deal, printing more money, devaluing the dollar, that could cause us to just fall through that floor. But with the dollar up ever so slightly, let's see how our metals did. And we see today gold down ever so slightly. This is on a weekly candle. Let's put it closer. However, gold's sitting at 1840. It's not too bad. We'll see what the metals do going forward. But with the stimulus deal and the dollar dropping, that's all the ingredients you want for the metals to rise. And we see the silver was up today. Silver got back on top, leading gold. We had gold 2 days in a row leading silver. Today we see silver back on top. And last but not least, we have Bitcoin, guys. And Bitcoin is just sitting at 19K. It's down 2% on the day. However, that's nothing to Bitcoin. And I want to point out, I've been telling my buddies, we could possibly see a consolidation period like in between 17 to 20K. We've seen it here. You can just see we've seen a consolidation period there and then a pop. This will be good for Bitcoin if we go through an accumulation maybe for the next month and a half or so. We'll see what it does, but it is concerning when you see any sort of asset just consolidate very tight after moving a lot. People might not expect the move, and then we could get that flush out. But let's move on over and take a look at the SPX and see what the expected move is for next week. We go over to the SPX, guys, and we can see this week is an inside move. 3708 was the upper edge. We came just a tad shy from that, but it was an efficient week. Let's take a look at the trade tab and see what they're pricing in for next week, guys. And we go over to the trade tab if it wants to load, and we look at the 7 days out because that's for next Friday. $67.15 is our expected move for next week. Let me put these inputs in and we'll discuss it really fast. There you have it, guys, for our expected move next week. This is going to be our barrier. So the upper edge at 37.66 and our lower barrier at 36.31. So look for us to be inside this expected move 68% of the time, one standard deviation. We'll see what happens. If more stimulus talk is in the chatter, this move can easily be broken, guys. But 67 is a low expected move. But what do you expect when we're sitting at all-time highs? You're not expecting 100 points, 150 points of expected move. Things are a little bit calmer right now, and that's why volatility is suppressing. But let's move on and take a look at our top stocks on the day. So we go over to the scan tab, we hit the scan, and there you have it for our contenders on the day. Coming in at number 3 stock on the day goes to Occidental Petroleum Corp, Oxy. Now today Oxy's up over 13%, guys, and has a market cap of over $17 billion. We take a look at it on a year to date, Oxy is down over 56%. Now what is Oxy? Oxy is an international oil and gas exploration and production company. And we can see it's an energy stock, and energy did well today. However, it's been beat up with the energy sector. We'll see what it can do. What was the news today? Well, we see some chatter that energy and OPEC Plus are talking about doing a output cut. So those discussions are being mentioned. So less oil coming into the marketplace will increase the price. But we take a look at it on an expected move, guys, and we can just see right here, Oxy has been shattering upper edge, upper edge, upper edge, upper edge, upper edge, 5 weeks in a row. So will the trend continue into 6 weeks? If it does, look for this $19.9, call it $20 as our upper edge, or $17.28 as our lower edge. I think if this energy trade keeps on chugging along, we can easily hit 20 next week, and we could keep on moving, guys. Coming in at the number 2 stock on the day goes to Snowflake Inc. Snowflake is up over 14% on the day, has a market cap of $109 billion, and on a year to date, it's up 52%. Snowflake is an analytic data warehouse that provides fast, easy, secure data to these warehouse offerings. So the first thing I notice, it's IPO'd in mid-September, so there's not too much data on it. Why is it up today? Well, it had earnings 2 days ago and huge inflow of volume. They didn't beat their earnings, however, they doubled their revenue. And this is a software as a service stock, guys, and these stocks tend to be the norm, making our top stocks on the day, guys. We take a look at it on an expected move, and we can see 1, 2, 3 weeks in a row blowing that upper edge of the expected move. So next week, the options market's pricing in 418.81 as the upper edge, guys, and 356.59 as the lower edge. We'll see what it does. Look what this week did. It came down and then back up. Came down into the earnings and popped. We'll see where it goes. Maybe if momentum carries it, look for maybe 420 range next week. Or if we see a pullback, closer to 350. Coming in at the number 1 stock on the day goes to Bloom Energy Corporation. Bloom is up 15.5% almost, with a market cap of $4.6 billion. It's a small guy. On a year to date, it's up over 250%. Now, what does Bloom Energy do? Well, Bloom Energy manufactures and markets solid oxidized fuel cells that produce electricity on site. Now, why are we up today? I couldn't find a reason why Bloom Energy was up today, but energy is up large today, and it's kind of going with that trend. We put it on an expected move, guys, and we can see it's pierced the upper edge, broke the upper edge, came close to the upper edge, and then the week prior we just exploded, and this week we're tagging the upper edge right where we expected it to go. Now look for 30.69 to play upper edge, or 25.17. I don't know why this stock is up today, but maybe we see a pullback on Monday, and look for 25 to play a role of support, maybe getting us back up to the midline, but we'll see what happens. There you have it for the top stocks on the day. Did you watch any of these stocks? If not, what stocks are you looking at going into next week? Comment them down below. And if you've watched this far, guys, I really appreciate it if you throw the thumbs up, guys. It shows me that you guys care what I'm putting out. It makes me feel good. And if you're new and this is your first time watching me, I've been doing these daily since July 27th. I missed my birthday, October 19th, but I just added the top stocks section. So I'm trying to get out there on YouTube searching organically. So I started targeting top stocks on the day. So if one of your stocks made the cut and you like what I'm talking about, hit me with the subscribe button, guys. It means a lot to me every time I get a new subscriber. And if you have any feedbacks, constructive criticism, I love to hear it. Anything I can do to improve my channel for you guys, I'm all about. But on that note, guys, have a great weekend. I will see you on Monday. Take care. Peace.